Welcome to Dolphin Dive Daily, your go-to spot for everything Miami Dolphins. If you bleed aqua and orange, hit that subscribe button and join the pod. Tyreek Hill's recent comments about his future with the Miami Dolphins have sparked conversations across the NFL world, not because he's demanding more money, but precisely because he isn't. That's right, one of the most explosive wide receivers in football, the guy with Olympic speed and all-pro accolades, came out and said he doesn't need to be the highest-paid wide receiver in the league to stick around in Miami. In an era where every star player seems to be chasing the biggest possible bag, Hill is taking a different route, one that's based on gratitude, loyalty, and a genuine desire to win. And when Tyreek Hill talks, people listen. This isn't just some wideout trying to stay relevant. This is a 7-time Pro Bowler, a Super Bowl champion, and a player who just 2 seasons ago led the entire NFL in receiving yards. What he says carries weight, and Dolphins fans have every reason to lean in and pay attention now. Let's put some numbers on the table. Hill is already one of the top earners at his position. Heading into the 2025 season, his cap hit is set to hit a whopping $27.7 million, second only to Tennessee Titans star Calvin Ridley. That's no small number. That's franchise cornerstone money. That's where building around you money. Yet Hill, who could very easily flex his resume and demand a contract that resets the wide receiver market, is choosing a different narrative. In his own words, "I don't even have to be the highest paid receiver. I just want to win ball games." That statement alone speaks volumes about where his head is at. It's not about personal accolades, it's about legacy and winning. And maybe, just maybe, staying where he feels truly at home. And that home, for Hill, is South Florida. The man has thrived in Mike McDaniel's offense. Let's not forget that in 2023, Tyreek put up a jaw-dropping 1,799 receiving yards, leading the entire NFL. That wasn't just a good year. That was a historic season. That mark also set a Miami Dolphins franchise record for the most receiving yards in a single campaign, etching his name into team history alongside legends like Mark Clayton and Nat Moore. It's not just the stats, though. It's how Hill plays the game, the burst off the line, the way he stretches the field, and the way defenses have to account for him on every single snap. With him on the field, the Dolphins are a completely different animal. And with McDaniel calling the shots, Hill has found a system that highlights every ounce of his talent. But let's not pretend everything's been perfect. The 2024 season was a reality check. Hill dipped to just 959 receiving yards and averaged a modest 56.4 yards per game. By his standards, that's a quiet year. Some blamed injuries. Others pointed to Miami's offensive inconsistency, especially down the stretch. But whatever the reason, Hill didn't look quite like himself. That dip in production also came as he turned 31, a milestone age for wide receivers, especially those who rely on speed. The big question now is whether 2024 was a blip or the start of a gradual decline. That matters, because the Dolphins will be weighing that very factor when deciding how much and for how long they're willing to commit to their superstar. Wide out, and let's not overlook the elephant in the room, the playoffs, or rather, the lack of playoff success. Despite all the talent on this Dolphins roster, they haven't won a single postseason game since the year 2000. That's over 2 decades of heartbreak, and while fans have been patient, the pressure is clearly building. If 2025 ends the same way as the past few seasons, with an early playoff exit or no playoff win at all, it's hard to imagine this core staying intact. Major changes could be on the horizon, and even a player as electric as Tyreek Hill might not be immune to a franchise shakeup. This is a team with expectations, and if they keep falling short, the front office might decide it's time to start over. That's why Hill's humility and team-first attitude are so significant. He could very easily play hardball, demand top-tier money, put the team in a financial chokehold. But instead, he's sending a message. He wants to win here. He wants to be a Dolphin. That kind of mindset is rare, especially from a superstar. And it's not lost on fans or the front office. It tells you everything you need to know about the culture Mike McDaniel is trying to build. This is more than just football. It's about chemistry, trust, and a shared belief that the best is still ahead. Hill is buying into that vision. And if the rest of the roster follows suit, the Dolphins might finally have the locker room unity they've lacked for so long. At the same time, there's a business side to all of this that can't be ignored. The NFL is a cutthroat league. Cap space is finite, and with other stars on the Dolphins roster, Like quarterback Tua Tagovailoa, also due for big paydays. Miami's front office will have to make some tough choices. Can they afford to keep Hill at a premium price, even if it's not the highest price? Or will they be forced to prioritize younger talent and let go of aging stars to stay competitive? Hill says he's not chasing the biggest check, but even a mid-tier extension for him could command north of $20 million per year. That's a serious investment. And it's one Miami will need to weigh very carefully over the next 18 months. Let's also not forget the marketing and leadership value Hill brings to the table. He's not just a player, he's a brand. He's got charisma, social media reach, and star power that extends beyond the field. When Tyreek Hill speaks, the NFL listens. When he makes a play, it's on every highlight reel. That kind of visibility brings value to a franchise that extends far beyond stats. It energizes a fan base. It sells jerseys. It puts butts in seats. Losing a player like Hill, even if his production starts to wane, would be about more than just yards lost. It would be a hit to the team's identity, its swagger, and its presence on the national stage. The Dolphins need to think about all of that when considering his future. What's most compelling about Hill's statement is that it reflects a player who's matured earlier in his career. This might not have been his stance. He was a young speedster with something to prove in a market to chase. Now, he's a veteran with Super Bowl experience, financial security, and a broader perspective. He's seen the highs, he's been part of a winning culture, and now he wants to help build one. That kind of leadership is invaluable in a locker room full of young talent trying to figure out what it takes to win consistently in the NFL. Hill is showing them that it's not just about stats and salary, it's about commitment, sacrifice, and embracing the bigger picture. So here we are, at the crossroads of legacy and longevity. Tyreek Hill says he wants to stay in Miami. He's not demanding to be the highest paid. He just wants to win. For Dolphins fans, that's music to their ears. But words alone won't shape the future. The 2025 season will be a defining one. Not just for Hill, but for this entire Dolphins team. Can they finally get over the playoff hump? Can Hill bounce back from a down year and remind everyone why he's still one of the most feared weapons in the league? And can Miami find a way to reward his loyalty without compromising their long-term plans? All of those questions hang in the air, but one thing's clear. Tyreek Hill has made his intentions known. Now it's up to the Dolphins to respond. Still with us. Then show some love. Hit that like button and let us know in the comments. What's your take on the Fins this week? It's the kind of NFL whisper that sends shivers down the spines of defensive coordinators and makes quarterbacks grin from ear to ear. Word around the league is that a seismic move could be brewing in South Beach. Imagine this. Chris Jones, the absolute powerhouse of a defensive tackle, yes. That Chris Jones from Kansas City could be heading to the Miami Dolphins. The implications? Massive. The Dolphins, already one of the most explosive offenses in the league, would be adding a defensive juggernaut to their arsenal. And more importantly, it signals a shift in message to the league. We're not just here to compete, we're here to dominate. For Tua Tagovailoa, who's seen more pressure than most quarterbacks should in a lifetime, this might be the shield he's always needed, a literal human wall in front of him. This isn't just a move, this is a potential transformation. Let the speculation begin. Let's be real for a second. Chris Jones isn't just any lineman. He's a one-man demolition crew, a game wrecker, and arguably the most dominant interior presence in the league today, not named Aaron Donald. So when rumors started swirling that he's been in quiet talks with the Miami Dolphins front office, fans lost their collective minds. The Dolphins have been flirting with greatness for a while now, with Tyreek Hill burning secondaries, Jalen Waddle electrifying the field, and Tua putting up elite numbers when healthy. The offense is set, but protection and pressure, that's the next phase. Chris Jones joining this roster would be the final piece in creating one of the most terrifying defenses in the AFC. Think about it. Jones up front, Xavier Howard and Jalen Ramsey in the secondary. Who's moving the ball on that? Tua wouldn't just survive a season, he could thrive in one. If true, this is a blockbuster in the making. Now, sources close to the situation have remained tight-lipped, but there are whispers that Chris Jones has been spotted in Miami more than a few times this offseason. Coincidence? Maybe, but this is the NFL and the league of smoke and mirrors. No appearance is ever just casual. Jones is in the prime of his career, and after years of anchoring the Chiefs front, maybe he's looking for a new challenge somewhere warmer, somewhere with palm trees, and somewhere with potential. Miami fits that bill, and it's not just about location. the Dolphins have money to spend, a culture on the rise, and a need for a cornerstone defensive leader. Jones could be enticed by the idea of being the defensive face of a franchise, not just another cog in a Super Bowl machine. It's a new chapter waiting to be written, and Miami might just be the perfect author. And let's talk about the real winner in this hypothetical chess move. Tua Tagovailoa. The narrative around Tua has always danced between brilliance and fragility. When he's on the field, he's surgical. His timing, anticipation, and quick-release passing make him a nightmare for defenses. But the elephant in the room has always been durability. Too many hits, too many close calls. Enter Chris Jones. While traditionally a defensive force, his mere presence changes game scripts. With Jones terrorizing opposing QBs and clogging the middle, Miami's offense gets more chances. Shorter fields and less time on the sidelines. That means less pressure on Tua. Physically and mentally, this isn't just about protecting Tua. With offensive linemen, it's about giving him a defensive enforcer who shortens games and flips field position. If you're the Dolphins and you truly believe in Tua, a move like this shows it loudly. Now, Dolphins fans are buzzing on social media, dissecting every rumor, every cryptic tweet, every Instagram like. Some say Jones' agent has been in contact with Miami's front office for weeks. Others claim it's already a done deal behind closed doors, just waiting for the right PR moment to break. Whether any of that is true remains to be seen, but what's undeniable is the fit. Jones would thrive in Miami's aggressive, attack-first defensive philosophy, and let's not forget, Vic Fangio may be gone, but the Dolphins' defensive mindset is still anchored in confusion, speed, and pressure. Jones adds a new dimension to that chaos. Opponents would be forced to double him every play, freeing up linebackers and edge rushers to feast. This isn't just addition, it's multiplication. If Jones wants to cement his legacy and play a pivotal role in building something, Miami might just be his golden opportunity. It also begs the question, what does this mean for the rest of the AFC East? Buffalo, already reeling from playoff heartbreaks, would have to face a Dolphins team with that kind of defensive muscle twice a year. The Jets, still unsure of how far Aaron Rodgers can take them, would have one more nightmare to prepare for. And the Patriots, well, let's just say the hoodie in Foxborough would not be thrilled. This move, if it happens, doesn't just shake Miami, it tilts the entire division. Suddenly, Miami isn't just chasing the Bills. They're leapfrogging them, with Chris Jones anchoring the trenches. And Tua firing lasers with a cleaner pocket and more possessions, the Dolphins become a full-spectrum threat. Offense, defense, special teams, check, check, check. This could change playoff seeding, wildcard races, even who gets home field advantage. The ripple effects would be felt league-wide. Financially speaking, the Dolphins would need to maneuver cleverly. Chris Jones isn't cheap, nor should he be. He commands a premium, and rightly so. But the Dolphins have shown a willingness to go all in on elite talent. Just look at their recent history. This is a front office that isn't afraid to swing big. If they believe that Jones is the missing piece, the enforcer who can make everyone better, then they'll find a way. Restructures, cap gymnastics, backloaded deals, it's all on the table. And let's not forget, Miami is a desirable destination. No state income tax, sunshine year-round, and a city that embraces its athletes. Jones wouldn't just be joining a team, he'd be joining a movement, a surge that's been building season after season. In many ways, this wouldn't just be a smart football decision, it would be a lifestyle upgrade, a strategic, legacy-shaping move for both sides. Now, let's address the skeptics. Some might say it's just off-season chatter, that Jones is too loyal to Kansas City, that he's not leaving a dynasty. But dynasties evolve, players evolve. And let's not forget, contract negotiations in KC haven't always been smooth. There's always a breaking point, even in the best marriages. If Miami is offering not just the bag, but the keys to the defense, that can be tempting. A fresh start, a new identity, maybe even more endorsements and personal branding opportunities in a city like Miami. This isn't just about football anymore. It's about legacy, life after football, and planting your flag in a place where you can be the guy. Chris Jones could leave Kansas City as a champion and walk into Miami as a king. The league has seen crazier things, and this one, it's starting to feel a lot less crazy by the day for Tua. This could mark the true beginning of his era. The Dolphins have danced around greatness since he arrived, flashes of brilliance followed by injuries or inconsistencies. But if the franchise can surround him with stability, both offensively and defensively, there's no ceiling. Chris Jones doesn't just protect the end zone, he protects the team's future. By keeping opposing offenses off the field and getting the ball back quickly, he directly boosts Tua's efficiency and health. It's a butterfly effect. Less stress, more rhythm, longer drives, fewer sacks. It all connects. In many ways, the move to bring in a superstar defender like Jones is the ultimate vote of confidence in Tua. A message that says, we believe in you, now go finish the job. If this deal becomes reality, we might look back at this offseason as the moment everything changed in Miami, a spark that became a wildfire. So for now, we wait. Eyes locked on every insider tweet, ears perked for every hint of confirmation. Whether it's a late-night leak, an agent's cryptic quote, or a surprise press conference, something is bubbling beneath the surface. Chris Jones to Miami. It started as a whisper, but it's becoming a chorus, a human wall, a defensive anchor, a tone setter. And for Tua and the Dolphins, this could be the beginning of a championship window flung wide open. Keep your notifications on, because if Chris Jones walks into that Dolphins locker room, the entire NFL will have to take a long, hard look at what's happening in Miami. This isn't just hype. This feels like destiny knocking on the door. And if the Dolphins answer it with a smile and a handshake, you better believe the league just got a whole lot scarier. That's a wrap for today's dive. If you're loving the content, share it with a fellow Dolphins fan, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a splash. Fins up.